Welcome adventurers! Sit yourselves down by the crackling hearth fire. I am Holistic Dungeon Master, and in this video we talk about the very heated topic of paying to play D&D. I show you exactly why you should consider paying for Dungeons & Dragons, and exactly when you shouldn't. If you're enjoying my content so far, then you know what to do. Please like the video, crit the subscribe button and notification bell, and let's get rolling! Yes, you can pay to play Dungeons & Dragons. I didn't know this myself until a few years ago, and I was honestly kind of amazed that people would pay to play what is otherwise a free hobby, right? I immediately thought, this is a hobby, it's meant to be between friends. Wouldn't money kind of ruin that magic? But after getting into the game first and foremost as a dungeon master and being branded the forever DM for my friends group, I know many of you feel that pain, I very badly wanted to experience the game as a player. None of my friends wanted to take up that mantle, so I headed where else? To my local game store to play some D&D, right? My one local game store. I live near a very small town, so there's only one, and it is bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's cramped, it's smelly, it's dank. Everything is like way overpriced, like by at least a good 10 to 15%. And always, every time you go in there, the owners try to push some sort of merchandise on you. So I noped out of that first experience. I had a pretty bad first D&D experience. I had such a bad experience, in fact, that whenever I need tabletop RPG stuff or board game stuff, I head to other cities and towns to go to their much better game stores. I still wanted to play the game though, right? I was determined not to be a forever DM, so I headed online to try and find one. I saw online in those LFG forums that while there were many free games, most of them, not all, but most, seemed to be messy sounding homebrews that the ones you'd kind of see in those D&D green text horror stories online. This is when I saw that people were charging to run games of Dungeons & Dragons. It never even occurred to me that this is a thing that people do and that could happen. And initially I had the reaction that probably most people do when they see this. I kind of scoffed. But I am insatiably curious at heart, so I checked out these advertisements and found that they all sounded pretty good, actually. Well organized, they were beginner friendly. Many of them promised to weave character backstories into the modules, which is something I was really after. And yes, they were mostly running published material, published modules, and they also mentioned that people who pay are more likely to, or at least less inclined to flake on the weekly session. And I needed a weekly session because I wanted to play every single subclass ever, right? So many subclasses, not enough life time, not enough life to live to get through all those subclasses. So yes, I scoffed initially, but these paid advertisements were advertising exactly what I was hoping to find online. So still a little hesitant, I found the cheapest game I possibly could, running Lost Mine of Phandelver, right? And I started playing that very same weekend. I can honestly say that I had an absolute blast. The DM ran a good game, ran the module fairly, and it was just a wonderful introduction to the hobby. And the players that I played with, they were just fantastic to play with. They were super invested in the game and their characters, probably because they were also financially invested, right? But we played nearly every single week, the same day, the same time, for many, many months, until we finished the module and beyond. Full disclosure though, this experience led me to try out professional DMing, and I've been a pro online myself for 3 years now. So yes, I definitely do have a bias, right? But I have a very, very good idea about why paid D&D can be worth every penny and even sometimes superior to a free game. And I have very strong feelings about when you should never, ever pay to play D&D, because it's not for everybody. But we'll discuss that at the end of the video. But for now, let's focus on why you should pay to play. First and foremost, it is very consistent. There is a set time, a set day, and it runs usually every week. You can get bi-weekly, you can get monthly. By and large, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be playing a weekly consistent game. And this is wonderful for people with tight schedules or people who just want consistency in their D&D. They love this, you love this, I love this, and we all want to be playing at least once a week, right? And with paid DMing, you can get this. The DM wants to get paid, so they're absolutely there every week. And the players are, they're invested in this with their time and their money, right? And they've fit it in their schedule. They've maybe scheduled some things around it. They are going to show up 9 times out of 10. The game, these paid games are also being run more for your enjoyment as a player. rather than the DM's enjoyment. And of course the DM still enjoys it, but you are paying them for a service and they're tailoring the experience to your enjoyment, not theirs. Because of this, they tend to be, or they usually are, more character backstory focused. It's probably also because of shows like Critical Role and Dimension 20 where they are very backstory and narrative driven, and I feel like that is the market now because almost every single DM online is using this as a selling point for their games because it's what people want. Pro DMs, at least now anyway, there's been an explosion in pro DMing. They're all in heavy competition with each other and they're constantly improving their skills, constantly thinking about extra little bits of value that they can add to the experience to get ahead of other DMs. You know, from the atmosphere to the music to the visuals to the high quality maps, voice modulators, high quality voice acting, and so on. It on and on it goes, and on it will go. There are also so many pro online DMs now that you have an insane amount of choice. You can usually find exactly the kind of game you are looking for at the right time that suits you, as opposed to just making do with what's available around you. You want to play a specific module on a Saturday night, specifically from 7 to 11 p.m. It's there for you. Trust me, it's there for you. There's probably many DMs doing that exact module at that exact time, and you can choose exactly which DM, and they've got their DM advertisements. You can choose which style suits you the best, and you can get an experience that you're really looking for. Another great point is that problems between players are usually resolved quite quickly. These DMs are professionals. They must sort out these issues because everyone's paying, everyone deserves to have a good time, right? So problem players, players who are really causing problems, they don't stick around in these games. These DMs are usually pretty hardline about what's acceptable, what's not. If you break that, you're out of there because you're ruining the experience for other people who are also paying their hard-earned cash to be there. So problem players are deleted pretty instantly. This happens because you're paying for a service. So you deserve to feel safe and enjoy your hobby and to get an experience that you wish to pay for. Sometimes you don't always get these things at your local game store. What you do get, however, is 2 to 6 hours, depending on people's schedules, of personalized interactive entertainment for less than the cost of going to see a movie. Pretty good. And by paying for this, you're supporting the arts. DMs are writers, storytellers, voice actors, and entertainers. And while many are willing to do this for free, some most certainly deserve to be paid for it, right? Especially those who are very, very good at running a high quality experience, especially when they're offering their skills to strangers online. And that's the important point, for strangers online. Remember it, please, for the next section when we discuss when you absolutely should not pay for D&D. I've been neglecting to mention IRL, Professional Dungeon Masters. I've mostly been talking in the scope of the online realm. There's a reason for that, right? And we'll get to it. It'll become apparent. But if you have access to D&D or any tabletop RPGs in real life, right, with your friends or at a good local game store with people you like playing with, right, and it's consistent enough for you, 9 times out of 10, you will have a much, much better experience than any online game, paid or unpaid. Now, don't get me wrong, online games are absolutely worth it if you don't have access to this, and many, many, many people don't. But if you do have this, then just go, have fun, spend time with your friends for free. It's much, much better for you, and you will have a much better time. Online D&D is different. There are some fundamental differences. For example, the main one, in my opinion, is that only one person can talk at a time, right? You're on voice call. You try to avoid crosstalk as much as possible. So really only one person can be speaking to the DM and vice versa. At a physical table with a bunch of friends, everyone's eating snacks. When the DM is narrating to a one player, maybe 2 other players are role-playing together away from that, there's just this kind of more communal, organic, natural feeling at the table. And in online, that is not there. You're not enjoying a hobby with people in the same room with you, and there are no physical maps, minis, things like that. Like, that is the really awesome, physical, there's my dice. I love picking that up and rolling it. It's just not there. So, in my opinion, which I believe is the right one, of course, paid D&D should only be an option for you if you have no other option. IRL pro DMs, they are a thing, and they do bring their own value and spin on things, right? Some of them even bring full lighting and sound kits, a full rig, right, to really wow and dazzle you. They usually have a vast array of high quality painted minis and maps and dungeons and 3D dungeon pieces that they've invested into to kind of elevate that experience. And many of them are trained entertainers. They do bring that kind of next level experience to the hobby. But I really think that they would have to provide a truly elevated experience to beat getting it for free with a bunch of friends with all that banter, and where the DM is your friend too. So if you're one of those unlucky adventurers like me who just did not have access to good IRL D&D with friends, then you're probably wondering, where can I find good professional dungeon masters? Startplaying.games is the best resource. It's what the site is for. It is there to specifically host DMs who run professional games, and not just of D&D, of course. Whenever I say D&D a lot here because that's my main game, but of course we mean any tabletop RPG that requires a game master, a dungeon master. And that's what the site is specifically for, paid D&D. You're hiring a GM. It's an agency, basically. So you go there, you find a GM. There are thousands of GMs on there doing their thing, each running it in their own style. Some of them are running high quality homebrews. Most people there are running published modules. The GMs have ratings, they've got reviews. You can go into their GM profile and see exactly what you get from playing in their games and exactly what their style is like. So you can really find the best GM for you at startplaying.games. But there are other places too, like Roll20. You can head on there. There's a forum on there, an LFG forum on there, where you can find DMs there too. There's D&D Beyond, the official D&D Beyond. They've got an LFG forum in there. There's specifically an LFG paid forum in there. You can hop into that and have a look. There are also two decent subreddits. There's LFG Premium, which again, that's looking for specifically paid games. But there's also just the Roll20 LFG subreddit, which advertises both paid and unpaid games. And if you wish to hire me as a professional dungeon master, I do have slots open, and I'm open to suggestions of games and time slots. Then you can find the link to my Start Playing GM profile down in the description. There are definitely pros and cons, caveats and stipulations when it comes to both paid and free D&D. But I hope that I've managed to just at least convince you to understand why DMs would charge for this as a service and why people would choose to pay for it. If you're a DM yourself, then I have a gift for you. I've written a bunch of system-neutral, story-focused, archetypal NPCs with no stats, no mechanics, or anything like that, so you can plop them down into any system whatsoever, so you can get started improving the narrative of your own games. I'm giving it away for free, of course, and it's down in the description below. Also down in the description, you will find the link to my community Discord server, so go ahead, hop in, we can hang out, discuss the game, and meet other DMs and players who just love Dungeons and Dragons. You've heard a lot from me, now I want to hear from you. In fact, we all do. Please get typing down in the comments down below and let us know if you'd ever consider paying to play D&D, or if you have already, please let us know how it went. If you've watched this video all the way up until now, then thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It really helps. So please like, share it with someone you think needs this perspective on paid D&D, crit the subscribe button and notification bell, and remember, this world needs good DMs.